Warning, this show contains adult language, so viewer and listener discretion is advised. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, welcome as well. And if you're wondering what the show's about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. Today is episode 237, and it's Future Generations Rant. I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried on most levels because these are these younger generations that are out vandalizing things, and these are the people that are going to be pushing us old people around in wheelchairs, dude. We should be, these are the ones who got to wonder if they're going to put the brakes on, while you're parked up on a hill. Just jokes, but the future of these generations, I want to talk about how they're going to affect themselves. I'm wondering how they're going to affect us. I think we're already seeing some effects in all this. There's obsoletism. There's many things. There's value, I think, in learning to have multiple talents, such as we have in the old days, where people were poor. A lot of people had super talents where they're able to play the violin and garden, identify plants. They're able to raise cattle, sew somebody up who got cut. They had a lot of different things. They had to, right? They had to go and create their own entertainment. They had to go and survive. They've gone through some really heavy times. They were hard people. And I see what's going on around now is that we have a lot of soft people. And we have a lot of things of science and mathematics and things like that. Basically, what we have is innovations in technology and things like that that are supposed to make our lives easier and better. In a lot of ways, they have. In my opinion, in a lot of ways, they haven't. I spoke a couple episodes ago, maybe about a few weeks ago, how I showed up at a hotel, 7 o'clock at night. I'm really tired, and the system was crashed. Well, the so-called system that's supposed to make our lives easier, I couldn't check into my room. Now, I don't think it's a big deal to the business establishment there because they have, they make thousands, if not millions of dollars. But a lot of they weren't getting clients that night. Right? They had to refer them over to somebody else. They couldn't even write my name down on a piece of paper, have me pay cash, give me an old-fashioned key, and let me go to my room. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about that I'm really worried about. I'm also worried about this, JBS? They got hacked. One of the biggest meat manufacturing plants in United States, if not the biggest. We had the pipeline hacked. We just had something this morning, I looked on the news, where certain websites are down because of some certain cloud service. You can't get to the New York Times, I guess, online and all that stuff. Everything's been blocked. So the point I want to make is to young listeners and people, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s like I am, even in your 50s, all of this stuff starts to accumulate into something I think of some concern. And what I notice around me is a lot of kids are compartmentalized, and I think that's the name of the game of the owners of the matrix system and stuff like that, if that's what you want to call it. I don't know. The whole systems, the lifestyle designs that we have here, people are being fooled into just specialization, meaning and being compartmentalized into just certain specific things. What I find fascinating is how some people just say, I actually hear this a lot, is we use our brains, not our bronze. I think as anybody's been listening to this show, we need some sort of equilibrium. And I think that a lot of people who just use their brains, which I would say the majority, 75% that I've heard of people saying that look like shit, they not necessarily that physical labor would make you happy, but these are some pretty miserable people, for the most part, very unhealthy. Just picking up a couch, right, and moving it from one side of right out the front door. A lot of these people, they look like they're ready to have a heart attack. But we use our brains, not our bronze. This is kind of scary, looking at the skill level of a lot of the young kids and just their drive. These future generations, it seems like there's not much drive there to do a lot. I think everybody's fooled into thinking they're going to be millionaires and that they're just going to get rich and just get rich quick schemes and things like that. And when the opposite sides of the polarities I look at, I actually feel very sorry for a lot of people who also do the bronze work, the labor work. I am one of those people. I'm a roofing contractor, contractor in general for painting and synthetic turfs and all that kind of stuff there. I farm. A lot of this stuff's laborious, but I really consider it more as like a workout, you know, and that's what keeps me in shape. That's where all the big muscles come in. But just kidding. What I look at, though, is I feel equally, yes, sorry for these people who just work. I know some people around that they just work harder and harder and harder, and they're not too savvy about the technological advancements that we have, and they're not too savvy about using their brains as far as leveraging money, leveraging debt, learning about inflation and things. A lot of people, they just don't know these things even exist. I think they have an idea of inflation, but they have no reason why or what. That money's being printed, and that money that they borrow is not even in the banks. And there's just all kinds of different things that they know that they don't know about. And that's when we have some really awesome people that can bring that stuff to our attention. But these people are so busy and stuck in the old ways that they're falling behind, is the way I look at it. And if we have this great reset, this industrial revolution, I think that we're going to see a lot of people who are going to suffer. So I think there's an equilibrium. So the point for today's inspiration is to look at all peoples and all sides and say, you know, doesn't it make sense that you know how to change a tire? What if you're in the middle of nowhere and you want to go drive into Vegas, let's just say, you know, in that new Ferrari, and you happen to come around a bend, right? And there's no cell phone reception. You're there, let's say 2 o'clock in the morning. Wouldn't it be nice to actually know how to actually fix the damn thing, you know, or at least assess what's going on? As I say, with business and everything, what we have is cyber attacks and things like that. What's going to happen if we have a full-blown shutdown, even just for a day or two? I think a lot of these generations, when it comes down to their turn, when they start getting older, into their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and stuff like that, there's going to be a lot less of us guys and women of our people who know how to fix things around. And I think that the progression of the way the world is perceived is that we're going to move, you know, forward, and we're going to have smart cars, smart TVs, and smart houses, and all these kind of smart brain implanted chips and electrically powered sexual devices, and you know, and I think that that's a long way off. You know, if we look back in history, when I was a kid, there was the Jetsons cartoons and stuff like that, and there was movies. By 2020, you know, we were going to be flying ships, and it was supposed to be the end of the world. You know, we'd be flying cars, and a lot of things I think that science boasts, and mathematicians and things, that they've got all these things figured out. I mean, they've even, some people have proven Einstein, some of his theories wrong, right? Again, it's in my book, though, it was called a theory. You know, it wasn't saying this is so, but the theories, there's different migrations of innovations and areas of expertise and exploration that's changing a lot of things, but it's still, to me, is always set at a faster pace than what it really is. So let's just think that we're going to turn every single house into a smart home. You know how many billions of houses there are just in the United States alone, besides, you know, in the entire world? And as we said, what if these smart houses, and then we get a hack of a certain system, then you got to go back to the old ways, right? You got to go back to actually flipping a switch with your fucking finger, you know, reach out, flip it, instead of, hey, you know, Alexa, turn on turn on the lights. So I think that this could be something really bad. I know. I'm stumbling over here. I guess I'm not driving and doing my show today, so I'm fucking it up. I know a lot of old timers right now who are they're fucking geniuses, man. These guys know how the gases work in a refrigeration system, and they know the components of a helicopter, and they know how glass is, like a windshield's comprised, and why it would leak, at the bad insulation, good insulation. They know how to fix, mechanics, diesel mechanics. They know how to fix gas cars. They know how to put together a solar panel, and like all these extra crazy things. And these people are very valuable, and they make really good money. But as they all say, we're a dying breed, and they're capitalizing on it. I feel they can capitalize a little bit more, make a little bit more money, but Yeah, point is I think is once those people start to die off and we start to progress further in time here, that there's going to be less and less of those people around to fix a lot of the old stuff that we had. And the fear also is that we don't have, like I said, we're not going to progress that far. What if things crash and we do have to go the old ways? So let's talk about these old ways a little bit. Some of these old ways is what we're seeing right now is a lot of people going back to the land movement. They want to start producing their own foods and stuff like that. And I think that's another thing that a lot of, especially younger generations, don't understand. It's clearly evident where they don't know that a potato comes from the ground and that, how that a chicken lays an egg out of its butt, not necessarily its butt, but, they look at that and they're like, this is horrific, They don't have the experiences and they don't have the know-how of these things, but yet a lot of people are turning back to the old ways. And let's look at some of the things, like one of the things that pops in my mind right now is an old cast iron frying pan. They used to make these things in my research, if memory serves me correctly, they made them out of a really nice hard iron. And that's why you'll see cast iron frying pans that are, from the like 1901 and things like that, back even older than that. I can't remember the names of these things, but I guess it's not important. Griswold, I think, is one. And these things are selling for like $300. And they've made it that long. The technology back then it wasn't necessarily the technology, it was the ingredients. They were made from what the Google and internet tells me that they were made with heavy pot steels, like pot metal. I'm sorry, without pot metals. It was heavy iron. Whereas nowadays, they mix a lot of cheaper metals, so you're not going to find the same cast iron pans that are going to last as long as the old ones. They don't have the integrity that they do. I'm driving an old 1996 F350 7.3 liter diesel pickup truck. This thing is old as fuck. I got guys offering me like $20,000 for this thing. This thing was built where the motor can it withstand up to 550,000 miles. I sold one close to 500,000 miles, drove away. It was a 97. And it just happened to be that the 96s and 97s were built this way. And anybody who's a fix-it type of person these trucks are well sought after. And why is that? And what I heard from a lot of mechanics, giving you guys some examples here, is they just don't build shit like they used to. So back in the old days, these people were using their bronze and not their fucking brains. In my opinion, we're using both. They designed things with integrity. They designed things that to last. A lot of people back then didn't have the money and the excess of time and things that we have now. Like it got through the down the wire. The message got passed by. If a product was shit, a lot of people wouldn't buy it, and your business would end. Your manufacturing plant would go down. That's why Henry Ford, invented got the Model T so that everybody can afford them. But they built them very, very good. Very well. These things were built to last. Whereas now we're battling obsoletism with just about everything. We're a throwaway society. We're throwing away ourselves, the way I look at it. I know I'm all over the place, but these things aren't built to last. And that's what mechanics have told me about my truck. They says, whatever you do not sell it, man. Keep that thing. You can't buy that truck. You can go buy a brand new truck and it doesn't even measure up to this thing. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles and everything, but this truck will get me from point A to point B for a very, very long time. I can rebuild this thing for the rest of my life. I'll never need another truck. My joke is that they'd bury me in this like Viking style. So, yeah, I want to give. I'd like to give some positives here, and I think that all this obsoletism and things that everything's built on. I think that the knowledge base, what I think a lot of people don't understand, is that many of the things that we have nowadays are built to not last. That's how we stay in business, right? Not we, but the businesses out there build stuff that's going to crack and break, so people have to come back in and buy it again. And obviously, we've lost that purchasing of good stuff, of integrity built, good integrity built products. And a lot of us, I think, don't mind. It's all about cheap. It's all about the money. What can I afford? And as old timers taught me, you can't afford to buy cheap tools. You'll just keep buying them over and over again. In the end, you'll spend like twice as much as if you just went and bought the good stuff. So the positive, I think, that is there's going to be, for those who do know how to fix things, I think in the coming future decades, that these people are going to make a lot of money. I think that they're going to 3D print houses. We're going to see a lot of different innovations and things like that. But still, the infrastructure, the things that we have here, is not going to change for many, many, many years. We have shifts in so many different things. One of the scary things with technology right now is all the people that are going to be left behind with this great reset and this whole change of this industrial revolution and stuff, as their technological revolution, I guess we'd better say it. But people who diversify and not get themselves compartmentalized and specialized in just a few things to be able to broaden their horizon, I think that they're going to make a lot of money. And I think the world is a better place to be able to learn to fix and to renovate and restore old things instead of just throwing them away, right? I think that there's so many business opportunities. And if you have the know-how, and it doesn't mean that you have to be a professional at anything. A lot of the guys, as I spoke of, who I consider geniuses, are not specialized or are not professional in anything, but they do know how certain components work. And when you understand the way certain components work, like, if you learned how to plumb a house, you know that the water lines have to go to certain areas. There's an in, there's an out, and the whole system may, like for a water heater, may circulate and things like that. When you understand how to lay those pipes and how there's elbows and how to secure them, it leads you into like electrical work, where if you had to wire a house, maybe you don't know how to make the connections, but you know how to wire it just the same as plumbing. It kind of moves into the same thing. You're able to expand your education by learning a little bit about everything. And as you start to get more and more, and the older you get, you start to see the similarities in everything. And I think that that's the biggest value that a lot of people who will claim that they use their brains and not their bronze, there'll be less and less people who know how to fix those things. And I think that you can be able to charge these people who make all the great money because of their smart fucking brain, kind of like what I do. And you can actually make a really, really good living. That's pretty much all I have to say on that. I think that repurposing, though, restoring old stuff is definitely, instead of things going to the landfill, we live in just a throwaway society. And as I said, we're throwing ourselves away. And I think a lot of us don't realize the potentiality of all of these things that we speak of today that are deemed unimportant or done for the, that's left for the bronze people, the backbreakers. Doesn't mean that you couldn't capitalize on it, or if you are a bronze worker and you get older in age and you get professional, that you're able to train people when there's nobody left to fix things. So I don't know. That was just a little rant right there. I hope that helped. If it entertained you or brought you any good stuff, basically, I'm at a loss for words today. My world got jumbled upside down. My daughter, I think she might have broke her arm, and now we figured out she didn't. Late in the day, I should be at work, and that's why you don't have the background noise, because I'm able to podcast stationary today. So guys, that's the show. As I said, if I brought you any value, please like, subscribe, pass the show around, review it. It's up and in it at upandinitshow@gmail.com. Email me. Everything's always in the descriptions below. Let me know what you guys think, what you guys want to hear, how I'm doing for you. And you guys can check it out. It's Up and In It on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and anywhere where you can find the podcast. And as I always say, guys, go out there and have yourself a near life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.